Twice 200-meter world champion Shericka Jackson, the Superwoman, had a disastrous 2024 Olympic Games campaign. So, what's next for this phenomenal talent? Let's discuss. Welcome back to the channel, people. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, thank you for making it Peter Lloyd World. Go ahead, please hit the subscribe button so we continue to grow. When you do that, hit the notification bell so you know when the next video drops a release. Once a day here in Peter Lloyd World. Also, if you enjoy the content, please hit the like button and finally leave your thoughts. So, ready? Yep, good to go. Well, Shericka Jackson has had the worst season in her short track and field career. The fifth fastest woman all-time at the 100 meters and the second fastest woman all-time at the 200 meters had a disastrous Paris Olympic Games campaign. In fact, at no point did she actually touch the track throughout the entire Paris Olympic Games. Plus, her season has been riddled with injuries, very late start in the season as a result of these injuries, and much more. And throughout the entire 2024 season, she did not run a sub 22 for the entire season, which is incredibly unusual for the world's greatest living 200-meter runner, female. So, what's next for this incredible athlete? Now, I've heard many Jamaicans complain regarding Shericka Jackson, and their take is that Shericka Jackson and her coaching team were not honest with us. My take might be a little different. However, Jackson herself put out this letter, so to speak, to us, the public, about where her state of mind is. And I think you should listen. She wrote, "Should I accept the good and not the bad? My 2024 Olympic dream has been shattered. In my 10 years as a senior athlete, I've enjoyed the highest highs and some of the lowest lows. From winning world championship and Olympic gold medals to not performing at my very best. Having won the sprint double at the 2024 Jamaican Olympic Trials, I was hopeful that I would earn 3 more Olympic medals for Jamaica, land I love. However, injury has intervened. The feedback to my inability to compete here in Paris has been both encouraging and discouraging. I sincerely thank everyone who has encouraged me at this most challenging time, especially my sponsors, Puma, Scotiabank Jamaica, Official Water, and Omega. My coach and the entire team at the MVP Track and Field Club, my family, my friends, and very importantly, my fans in Jamaica and around the world. My primary focus now is to completely recover. Love, Shericka Jackson." During the Olympic Games in 2024 in Paris, many hearts were shattered when we found out that Jackson, who was supposed to compete in both 100 and 200 meters, decided prior to the start of the women's 100-meter series at the Paris Olympic Games, herself and her coaching team and management team decided that they were pulling her from the 100 meters.
In all honesty, if you realize I'm not looking too sad right now, I'm okay, you know. Sometimes you have to prepare mentally, especially if you have a mix-up where you get a little bit hurt, you have to really think about what if, you know. And I think, as I said, it's a decision we're comfortable with, so we're okay.
A final question, how confident are you about the 200?
I'm always confident, whether it's 100 or 200. It's something that you go out there, you don't go out there like, oh, what if? Or what if I don't win or what not?
So she pulled out of the 100 meters. But even then, her team said they believed that she was well enough to compete in the 200 meters. And the reason for pulling her from the 100 meters was because they wanted to concentrate on the 200 meters. Listen to this.
As I said, it's a combination of a lot of stuff, and as I said, Coach and I made that decision not to contest the 100 meter, and I think we're pretty happy with that. So,
what's the injury status like? We saw you pull up in your previous race. Haven't seen you compete since then. Are you 100% fit now?
Honestly, I was only supposed to compete in that event, and as Coach stated, we only run a few races in Europe, and I think that was the only race all of us was supposed to run, because after that, no persons that going to the Olympic had competed. So I think I'm pretty good. I'm in pretty good shape, and I'm okay.
And of course, before even the national championships, Coach Stephen Francis, the senior coach at the MVP Track Club, had this to say about the fitness of Shericka Jackson.
Us about Shericka.
Shericka it looks to me she's in good shape. She's I certainly know her 200 has improved vastly since the last time she ran. Based on what Paul has told me about the time she runs in practice last week and so on, I think that she's probably about a second better. You know, she looks good and while I think her 200 looks better than her 100 right now, I think that if she makes the team in the 100, she has a month in Italy I don't think she'll be competing a lot in Europe this year prior to the Olympics. So I think most of her competition will be after. So I think that she has the time to work on the fine points of the 100 meters. But I mean, based on the 200 I've seen her run, the 200 meter training I've seen her do, I think she'll be fine. Her 200 seems to be at least as good as last year at the trials. Yeah.
Are you suggesting there's a possibility?
But then disaster struck, as you can see here.
Julian Alfred, but now getting into one is Shericka Jackson. She's a great 400 meter runner as well. Daryl Nita trying to go with a good running in lane 3 there from Morrison. Oh, and Jackson pulls up. Not an abrupt pull up as Alfred takes it from Nita. And that is a great shape.
So I was watching closely at this stage when Jackson, but you can see that she has got strapping on the back of that leg, and it just is, yeah, that doesn't look good for Jackson. It was at that point she would have needed to just up the F as Jackson, and Jackson.
Now, this of course is my 2 cents. I suspect that what's happening regarding some of the negative backlash towards MVP and Shericka Jackson in this instance is a misinterpretation of what these sequence of events seem to imply. I believe because Coach Stephen Francis said Shericka looked really, really good. You know, she looked as if she was as in good enough shape in terms of her speed in the 200 meters as she was last year in the trials, which would have been, you know, really, really good. And then Jackson herself did say at some point, I couldn't bother to put it in this video. The video would be too long. But basically, Jackson did say at some point that, you know, she'd been running the 2 races for the year, throughout the years, and, you know, it's led to a stress on her body. So the decision was made for her to only compete in the 200 meters, which is quite reasonable. I think the misunderstanding is that persons believe that Shericka Jackson, the MVP track club, deceived us. That they went to Paris knowing that she couldn't compete. And honestly, that's a little bit preposterous. It's almost nonsensical to believe that. You have to understand that for an athlete to the amount of sacrifice that a Shericka Jackson makes to become the best, and the fact that she, due to an error in judgment in her first Olympic Games at Tokyo 2020, the 200 meters, which is her favorite of the 2 events, she didn't advance even to the semifinals. This medal meant a lot to her. In my humble opinion, you can correct me if I'm wrong, everybody from the camp can tell me if I'm wrong. I believed that they calculated that if they preserved her enough, then she would have been able to do the 100 and 200 meters. When they got to France, the indications were, after re-examining the situation, possibly due to the climate, and certainly when they were doing training sessions there, they must have realized that, okay, there's too much stress on her knee and her hamstrings, so she probably couldn't handle both the 100 and 200 meters. Then, of course, the question would have been, which one does she have the better chance of winning? Obviously, the 200 meters, because she's light. I mean, Gabby Thomas did a great job winning that 200 meters, but Shericka Jackson at 70% can beat Gabby Thomas. That's just facts. Even Gabby Thomas knows it. So I think the calculation was made. Okay, she has a greater chance of winning the gold in the 200 meters. Let's see if her legs would hold up throughout the 3 sessions. Because remember, in 100 meters, should have had to run 3 sessions, including the finals, and then should have to come back to run 3 sessions, including the 200 meters. Let's not even talk about the 4x1. So they made a logical decision, and I'm sure she was a part of it. I do not believe they were attempting to deceive us. I believe they were hoping for the best, but planning for the worst. You know, the barbell personality. Look it up. That's what barbell personalities do. So they were hoping that the injury would have held and should have been able to compete in both 100 and 200 meters. When they got there, the indicators were, when they were going through the practice sessions, etc., possibly the climate, etc., they realized, okay, she can't handle 100 and the 200 meters. Shericka, which would you want to do? And naturally, she loved the 200, she said 200 meters. And then, based on what I was told, in warm-ups prior to they're starting the 200 meter rounds after the 100 meter had ended, she further, Jamaican people, that's a hurt up. The correct word is agitated the injury. And then they realized we can't do this because Shericka Jackson is 30 years of age and she has a good 3 or 4 years left in her legs and she's the best in the world. So she may, if we give her enough time to heal from this injury, she may in time win that 200 meter Olympic gold medal. Naturally, because many Jamaicans, we are caught up in the euphoria of the moment or the pain of the moment, the emotions of the moment. We were hoping Shericka Jackson alone would have been 3 sure medals. We're pretty sure about that. 100 meters, she would have medaled. Definitely based on the times we saw. 200 meters, she would have probably more than likely won the gold. Had she been even at 70% in both events. And certainly her and the relay team would have made a huge difference. So, of course, many Jamaicans in that moment of pangs of anxiety, they got mad and they blamed her. Shericka Jackson never did not wrong. Shericka Jackson did what most athletes would do. In the end, they decided to preserve her career because it's a career. And she has at least three more years in those legs, maybe more. And we're talking about the best of the best. So the decision was made, I suspect, very difficultly, to not run the 200 meters and not run the 100 meters. I don't think it was purposeful. No, as to what she should do next. She needs to heal. She just needs to heal. She's been pushing her body for quite some time. She said it. 100 and 200 meters is not an easy task or feat. And clearly, some injury was picked up. And we don't want a situation like Elaine Thompson-Herah where she's running injured for years and it just compounds and gets worse and worse. So I think what's next for her, she just needs to heal. Let's give her the space and the time to just heal. If she heals, she's going to come back greater. She's Shericka Jackson, the best to have ever done the 200 meters outside of Flojo, the world record holder. But this, of course, is my 2 cents. Now don't forget to hit the subscribe button, notification, the like button. Remember your royals, kings and queens. Bless up!